on the stage, I call René again. So René just left from the quiz, and now
And
he
here he is
will
again.
pull the next activity. Perfect, René.
Thanks,
We just
Chris.
have to change your name. It's René and Antoine. Antoine
Sorry, I
is
didn't
not
make
here
that
anymore.
happen yet. I could work on my setup reduction. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Quick
Okay.
setup.
Still here, I'm changing it.
I will have Antoine delete it. Yes, that's my name. So it's a real pleasure to introduce to you the senior VP, or sorry, the VP at E.ON for transformation, which is Huibert-Jan Den Hartog. Huibert-Jan has a long experience in implementations and transformations. So he will join us. And E.ON, for those of you not familiar, E.ON is the biggest energy company in Europe, employs over 75,000 people and even 1,350 businesses or even more. But he will tell us about their challenges, because of course the energy market, we're all aware, is one that's really going everywhere due to the first pandemic, but now even more important, all the geopolitical problems and the war in Ukraine. So Huibert-Jan, we're very happy to have you here. Thank you also because you're the major sponsor of this event. So pleased to have
Welcome
you
to René.
on stage.
Yeah. You can still hear me, right? So
Yes.
if you could give me feedback. Yeah, okay, good. Hey, happy to be here, René, and also happy that I could chicken out of that quiz, because that was damn difficult, I can tell you. Yeah. Okay, so if you could maybe switch to the main presentation. Yeah, first of all, welcome everybody, and very nice that you can join me for this talk. I've called it surviving in a volatile energy market. So surviving is maybe a little bit too strong. Let's call it working through a very volatile energy market. I want to give you a sense of what our business currently is and what we are experiencing, and take you through how we intend to overcome that. First of all, maybe a couple of sentences about myself. So Huibert-Jan Den Hartog. So internationally, I go by the abbreviation of HJ. I work in a central team out of Germany. We are 40 plus professionals helping E.ON basically go through the transformation that we're trying to achieve. I have a background in Lean Six Sigma, over 20 years with several companies. Good, so for the next 30 minutes, I have basically three major topics. I want to introduce our business to you. What are the challenges that we are experiencing? Second part is how we intend to overcome those challenges using what we have called the E.ON business system, or EBS. The third part, I want to give you a couple of examples. So how does it actually work out in the business, and what are some of the impact that we can achieve? And hopefully you'll have a little bit of time available as well at the end to answer some questions. So E.ON, what do we do actually? We are a utility company, and that means that we provide power and gas to our customers. And if you look from the very highest level at the value chain for a utility company, it starts completely on the left-hand side, so with upstream for gas and power generation. Then you get the distribution part, so getting it through the pipes and through the networks. And until the end, you have the customers, the end customers who actually do the consumption. So where is E.ON located within this model? We are not in upstream and we're not in power generation. We buy those commodities on the wholesale market. But we are very big in the middle part, so the power and gas distribution part, the physical networks, and in the end part, so customers that actually want to have our solutions and consume the power and the electricity that we procure for them. And recently also the digital part that you see at the bottom, that has become more and more important for us, and even that could be a potential future business for us. So in terms of strategy, and what is the most important thing for us is that this whole changeover to renewables is really part of and core to our strategy and how we intend to be successful for the next coming decades. So it is the push in towards renewables. Couple of key statistics. We have 72,000 employees, I believe, over 50 million customers. So this energy networks part, the pipes and the lines that we have, it's over 1.6 million kilometers long if you would do everything behind each other. We have a so-called RAB, or regulated asset base, so that's the value that we have in our assets, over 35 billion. And we operate, so it is a business that is really geographically located also, because you cannot move the energy networks very easily. So we operate in northeastern and northwestern Europe. So it's a bit of a small map that you see over there where we operate. So it goes from the Nordics, Sweden, Norway, down to the south, Italy. We have participations in Turkey. And all of those countries, it's a combination of energy networks and customer solution part that we have. Main part of the operation is in Germany. So from origin, we're a German company. Adjusted EBIT just under 8 billion as it currently stands. So if we maybe go those two types of businesses that we have, networks and customer solutions, if we look at what are the challenges that we experience over there and the strategy that we are pursuing. So first of all, energy networks. This whole push for decarbonization really requires significant investments in our power distribution networks. And you can see a bit of the graphs over here for what it means in terms of the average annual investments that need to be done. So you need to realize that the current electricity grids that we are having, in terms of its conception, is already over 100 years old. And it is very much a top-down structure with a central generation and then going over high voltage to medium voltage to low voltage into the different homes. Now, as we all know, that model needs to totally change if we want to go in this decarbonization route. So that means much more local generation, much more local balancing of the networks. We need to have intermediate storage. And that whole network needs to change significantly, and that requires massive investments. Yeah, not to mention all the e-mobility that needs to come on stream as well. Yeah, so this is a huge area for us, requires significant investments. And we need to do that, maybe that's also good to mention, with an aging workforce as well. And so we are pretty short on qualified personnel, also young qualified personnel to take this forward. Now, if we look at the customer solution side, so the end customers, that is much more like I would call it an FMCG, so customer, fast-moving consumer goods type of a business. There, the name of the game is in developing new customer solutions for us. What do our customers intend to buy from us into the future? So it's the traditional energy sales that we do, but next to that, it's something that we call a future energy home. So that means solar panels, heat pumps, isolation. People would like to have e-mobility solutions next to their home that needs to be available. We need to build up a whole e-mobility infrastructure also across the different countries where people can do fast and efficient charging. And recently, also hydrogen has become a very interesting business opportunity for us. Okay, so those are two types of businesses. This is the high-level strategy that we're pursuing. I think under the best of circumstances, this is already a very challenging agenda that needs to be achieved. And then at the beginning of this year, we got a totally different situation. So on the 24th of February, Russia invaded Ukraine. And all of a sudden, the name of the game for energy completely changed. So energy suddenly became a geopolitical weapon, basically. And that had a huge impact on our business as well. And so to give you a bit of a sense what it meant, so these are the prices for a wholesale, on the wholesale market for electricity and for gas. So you see it over here. So over a period of 1 year, it almost went by 10 or maybe even by 8 for the wholesale prices. What does it mean in operational terms for our business that this is happening? So it has quite substantive impact, I can tell you. So we see nationalization of businesses. We see price caps being introduced. We see rebates that are being ordered on the electricity prices by local governments. Lots of customers have questions about their energy bill. What does it mean for them? So we see increased traffic to our call centers, increased waiting times, service levels were going down, increased bad debt positions on our side as well, or at least the risk of bad debt. Sales of new contracts almost not happening because we were not able to make a credible offer to our customers for a 1-year contract or a 2-year contract or a 3-year contract, given these circumstances over here. So all of a sudden, very disruptive circumstances, I would say, and that we had to overcome, because that is just basically the current reality, and we need to adapt to that. So in conclusion, what are we faced with at the moment within E.ON? So on the one hand, we have a couple of very stable trends, predictable trends. That is the decarbonization effort, the decentralization of energy generation, and digitalization. So those were already in the books for a long time. And on top of that, we now have a very dynamic market environment where we see inflation rates rising. There maybe is going to be a recession in 2023. We have political pressure on the system, price regulation, and as I said, nationalizations coming up as well. Yeah. So these are the market circumstances that we need to overcome. How do we intend to do that? So I wouldn't call it a silver bullet, but what we think is important is that we instill a set of common way of working and a common language in the organization that gives everybody a frame how to work and how to think and how to collectively also improve. And we have called that the EBS, or the E.ON business system. And the centerpiece of that is really continuous improvement. You see a couple of, I think, well-known statements over here and terminology that you have seen before. Center stage is continuous improvement, and important is that we do it collectively all together with the total company. Yeah. So I will now give you a little bit of more details around this EBS, what's behind it. So it is inspired, let's call it like that, on the Toyota production system, well known over here, I guess, over in this audience. Also based on the Danaher business system, one of the most successful conglomerates in the US. We have a couple of very important principles that we wanted to focus on. So it really is for us to achieve our strategic ambitions. It is for everybody in the company, so it's an opportunity for everybody to contribute. We want to create a common language, and it is a journey. So it doesn't have a starting point, or it has a starting point, but it doesn't have a defined endpoint. And collectively, we keep on improving. Yeah. Continuous improvement mindset is what we focus on. Performance management is very important. So we want to have a high performance way of working collectively, and the learning and sharing across the company is center stage as well. So the model that we use for this E.ON business system is the following one. So this is the central piece, basically. If we say that continuous improvement is our strategic objectives that we have defined so-called 4 guiding principles around that. And those are connect, deliver, improve, and enable. And those give us basically the DNA of how we work together in our company collectively. And on the outside, the gray ring, you can see the tools and techniques. So that's basically is the toolbox that you use to connect those 4 guiding principles. We have the performance heartbeat. So that is what we call dispassionate performance dialogues in our companies, to have a KPI-driven culture. And we have impact recipes. Impact recipes are standardized approaches that we can quickly replicate across the company in likewise areas. I also have an example of that. And we have commercial programming at the beginning. So where do we invest? Where do we go? And what are the next steps that we need to take? So continuous improvement in the center, connect, deliver, improve, and enable around it. And that's really also the terminology that we drive forward inside E.ON. If we now go one level deeper and explore a little bit what's beneath that, so those 4 key guiding principles that we have, and we see it over here. So connect is all about connecting to our customers, but also to our employees, and making sure that we cascade the strategy that we have down into the organization. So it's customer centricity, the strategy cascading to the whole Shinkanri, and creating a collaborative environment for everybody. Deliver is this performance cascade part. So a KPI-driven organization where we have these dispassionate performance dialogues for the different businesses that we have, and it creates a performance culture. So making sure that we deliver on our promises, and that people are also managed efficiently. So it's the capacity and the processes that we operate, and we have efficient team structure and an efficient flow throughout the organization. Then the third part is improve, and it's really about getting better on a daily basis. So best practice sharing across all the different businesses that we have, especially internationally. Creating a problem-solving mindset in the organization. So the whole thing about Kaizen is in there, making sure that people also have the capabilities and the abilities to do that, and creating a continuous improvement culture where people improve on a day-by-day basis. The last part is enable. And enable is really about making sure that the employees have the skills and the tools and the ability to also operate in this business system as we intend them to do. Special focus on the leadership culture. I will also be coming back to that a little bit later as well. And we want to create a modern management culture inside the company. So based on trust and transparency, focus on people development, and making sure that leaders also take the role that they need to take inside this system. Good. So that was a little bit more detail how the model works. So how does it now work in practice? We roll out this EBS system. So we go into a business and we say, now we're going to implement EBS for you. Completely at the start of the journey, they don't know anything. And so it's what's the principle? What's the performance mindset? What does EBS even mean for me? So we give them a so-called EBS inspiration session, where they get more familiar with the terminology and what does it mean for them. And then we make a baseline assessment. Where are you currently with your team, with your business? What are you already good at? What are your current challenges? How does it relate to your strategy? Where are you and where do you want to go? So what's the future vision that you have? And then based on these guiding principles and these practices that we have, we design a tailored implementation approach for them. So it's tailored EBS modules and a tailored implementation to get them to a certain level of maturity. And then from then on, it's their ongoing continuous improvement journey for them as a team and also to drive it forward. So it's not a one-size standard model that we applied for everybody. It really is about tailored solutions that we bring to life for everybody. One special mention about leadership, and I guess it has been mentioned before as well in some of the sessions over here. So the role of leaders is essential, of course, if you want to get this going. So they need to change basically to a growth mindset. And what we ask leaders to do, and we also help them with them, is to really be the role model, promote the change, make the connection between the strategy and the daily business that we have, and explain the role of EBS in that. The other thing is leaders should be open to experiment, try out new things, take risks, and then make sure that also that the change is sustained, and that we have this open and transparent environment also with our employees. I've worked on a couple of these models before over the past years, and I must say that the behavioral component and the leadership component is very important to EBS, and even more important compared to some of the other models that I've worked in before. Okay, so very quickly, I've collected a couple of examples how that works. So 3 different projects, couple of slides around that. So something about Sweden. I took one of those impact recipes I talked about before, excellence rooms, and a quick snapshot about EBS that is being implemented in our finance organization. So Sweden, if you can remember, so at the beginning, so what are the challenges that we're experiencing based on the crisis since the beginning of the year in our market? We saw very big increased call volumes, especially in Sweden, coming in our front office. Lots of people dialing into the call center. Then there we did an EBS implementation, so we made sure that we have weekly and bi-daily performance dialogues. We have different teams that we did targeted coaching to increase the visibility, and also did 13 different PDCA loops together with the teams to clear out some of the obstacles that we're having. So currently the service level in our call center in Sweden is above 95%. The waiting time is consistently, for somebody who calls into the call center, consistently below 2 minutes, where it used to be 4 or 5 minutes. And the average handling time for somebody who calls is now below 8 minutes, which was also way higher. So I think we have achieved significant impact over there. So we now have a local, highly skilled EBS team in place. We helped together create business impact with over 15 plus different teams in Sweden. Meeting Cascade is fully in place and cascaded throughout the company. And with the continuous improvement, we have covered over 350 different FTEs. So a huge impact over there, and also very good impact for our local implementation team. Impact recipes. So what is that actually is? So one of the impact recipes that we have is we call it an excellence room. I think it might be known over here for this audience more as a war room or an Obeya room. So it is a cross-functional setup, cross-functional team that optimizes an end-to-end process or a journey with very sharp and clear focus on the value that needs to be generated. So this is a concept that we introduced for the first time in the Netherlands, and then this is now packaged as a ready-made solution that we can quickly replicate across different parts of the business, and we're doing it also in Romania at the moment, and in the UK and in Germany. So you see the people over here, it's a cross-functional, they work according to agile principles, so it's rapid testing, agile ceremonies that are being implemented by having everybody in the same room, efficient decision making, and this very short high cycle basically of making decisions, testing and seeing what works and what doesn't. And that is one of the impact recipes that we have. The last one, so EBS in finance, currently being rolled out as we speak. We do that for the central headquarter finance in combination also with the regional finance. Regional finance, the organizations that we're having, basically that's done into two different parts. So we have for the cultural change and the continuous improvement, we do it on the left-hand side, and the change and improvement part, so the step change is done on the right-hand part. So for the EBS way of working and the cultural change, we have this wave approach planned out, currently in the pilot phase, and then planned for 2023 and 2024, in combination with a leadership team journey. So that's again, this leadership development part that we do in parallel. So to coach leaders, to train leaders, and to make sure that leaders take on their role. And then for the step change, we are working with a list of Kaizen events, breakthrough initiatives that we defined to really make step changes in the finance processes that we have over there to make them faster and more efficient. So looking at the clock. So, René, are you still there? I would like to maybe open also the
Here. Yes. Hi.
stage if we still have a bit of time left.
Yeah, I think we have 2 minutes. So first question is from Madhu here. He says, great efficiency increase in Sweden. Are the customers satisfied with the faster calls? So
yeah, that's always the question in a call center. At least I know that they are happier with the increased service levels. So let's call it like that. So faster questions. So if you are more responsive and can answer a question quicker, then obviously also the satisfaction of the customers will go up as well. So it's always a combination of different KPIs in a call center, and all are going in the right direction. Let's call it like that.
Yeah. Last question. How does E.ON encourage new and mature managers to experiment? Question by Oleg.
Yeah, thank you, Oleg, as well. And good to see you over here. Yeah, so experimenting comes down to creating a safe environment, I think. And so not beating somebody on the head if their mistake has been made. creating safe environments so that people can experiment and not being punished for the results of it.
Super.
And I can say that's only a cultural thing that we need to improve and keep on working on.
Well, Huibert-Jan, thanks very much for your interesting presentation. Lots going on in the energy market, and good to see the insight how E.ON is dealing with it. Thanks again. And Chris, the floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you, René, and thank you, E.ON, for the support on this event. One of our main sponsors also here.